Welcome to the JP Podcast. I'm your host, John.
I'm your co-host, Tom.
And today we're going to do another recap breakdown. This is actually going to be number 3. We were itching to sit together, and so Tom said, hey, I want to get together instead of doing them Zooms. They were getting kind of, they were good for the moment.
Yeah, and it's, in circumstances, we got to do what we have to do, but also when we get a chance, I'd rather be sitting down in front of mics. I think it just works better for us.
Yeah, I think with today with COVID and everything else going on, it's easier for us to do the Zoom, but I do like to sit down, and it was actually pretty tough today setting up the equipment and everything. It has been a while. The Zoom is a totally different thing. So,
it's easier. Zoom is easier, to be honest with you. It's a very quick, simple way, schedule-wise, COVID-related, and then also literally just turn on the app and set it up and make sure I have enough light and we're good.
Yeah, when I was setting up the backdrop here, my wife was like, why don't you just put one of those backgrounds you put on there? I'm like, it's not Zoom, I wish we could, but
we'll get there.
We'll get there, definitely we'll get there. But I had reached out to a few people, and, the reason was, I don't know about you, but I get a lot of texts. A lot of people call me and give me advice or, say something they liked about the show via text or, by the phone. And I keep saying, man, you got to put it in the comments. You got to put it in the comments. But, I said, you know what? We'll do a show. We'll sit down, we'll do a show, and then we'll take a call or two. And we'll read some of the emails or some of the texts also that people have been giving us and things they say and the questions they have. And I said, it's not going to be about anything. So it's about anything you want to talk about. We'll give our opinion. And all.
That's what I'm looking forward to, is getting some of the questions and just answering it and being more loose. I like that. Similar to the reaction video where we just respond. We don't have to debate or think of anything. We can just have fun with it.
But before we move on to the calls and texts, our first video after our recap breakdown was the current events. We were just trying to go over it, but I actually forgot what we...
Yeah, like I that was so long ago. So many other things have happened that, whatever we said during that time, we should go back and watch it, but I'm not 100% sure what every detail was about.
The hard part about doing a current events, and we also tried doing a sports one, and the sports one was pretty good for me because I had learned some more on the editing side. So, but with the current events, you actually have to get that out that moment,
and it is a daily thing that you have to stay attached to. So that's a little bit out of our lane as far as being available that many times.
Yes. But we are set up for that. It just, I don't think, like with everything going on today, let me see, what date is today?
The 26th.
The 26th, Saturday the 26th. This video won't be out till not this Monday, but the following Monday. So the hard part about the current events was, and that was something we tried, is actually talking about something and then 2 weeks later or a week later,
it's irrelevant. It's a week old news. Nobody's
really So that's
in today's age, that's too far. That's not close enough.
Right. So we got to answer. We got to answer today about today and put it out today. And that was kind of rough for us. So I don't think we're going to be doing too much of the current events, especially if we're not going to be putting it out for a week or two.
And that's just right now. Who knows what the future holds if this becomes more, more current and those subscribers go up and everything. Who knows? We might be able to put one out every week,
Speaking of which, we finally hit the 100 mark, which is awesome. So
thank you guys.
Thank you very much. We were so excited. It was our first hurdle, and we hit it, and we it opens up more options for us. We were able to do a couple things behind the scenes there. We had to qualify, which we did. All we needed was the 100, and once we got there, we were able to change the URL number, make it more personalized, and I was real excited with that. Al, our editor, he got in there and doing a little bit more with behind the scenes stuff. Put up a new banner for us. actually had one originally, and then I had them change it because it had my name real big, and I was like, well, it's not really John Perla, it's JP Podcast with you and I, so I had him change it, and love the work that he does.
Oh yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
Stands out. Everything he does, it pops, and that's what we needed was getting it out there and putting it up front. So
yeah, so I don't know if we're going to be doing the current event, but the very next one that we did was with Eric Seidel, and that was the DC and the Marvel there, and it was awesome, how to get that all put on here and ask the questions. And, the guy is very knowledgeable in that area there, and, he pretty much carried us, and what I like about Eric is he's ready to go anytime.
Yeah.
So if I would have called him last minute right now, hey, you want to be on a show? He probably would have said yes.
Let's do it.
So.
And then I also got that was the video that some of my friends talked about the most as far as wanting to debate things and stuff, and that's when we get to tell we tell you guys, put it in the comments. I'll tell Eric and you guys go through the comments to debate things or discuss things or see what's next or whatever. That's always another avenue, so we can just build it up through the comments.
Yeah, that was pretty good there. I really like it, and some of the things he said, and I actually had to go back and watch a few things, and see what he was talking about. Sure enough, he had it pretty spot on. So, yeah, that was a good one there. But I'm thinking on going to our first caller here. So give us a moment here. Bear with us if we don't edit this out. But we're trying to figure out this phone system. We have a system we could connect the phone to, but we were still having a little bit of problems with it. And
who's our first caller? Do you know who it's going to be?
This one's going to be Pete.
Okay.
Giving Pete a call right now. See.
Pete was part of our veteran show, right?
Yes, he was.
Hey, good.
Hey, Pete, how you doing? Welcome to the JP Podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Hello, Pete. This is Tom. How you doing, bud?
Question. Since I think the internet is filled with people that went from being experts on pandemics, viruses, and vaccines to suddenly being experts on foreign affairs and military strategies, I think I'd rather ask, what do you guys think about the Durham report that just came out, showing that Clinton was spying on a citizen or no?
Oh, okay. I'm picking up a little bit about it, but I'm going to go ahead and hang up, and we're going to answer this call there.
All right, sounds good.
Answer these questions. I'm sorry about that. Thanks, Pete, for calling in. But
thank you.
You have a great day.
Thank you, Pete.
The Durham report. Yeah, I actually was following that.
I did not know. I mean, I've heard when it came out, but I didn't follow it. I didn't read it. I didn't go through it real well. So. What's the general gist of it?
They found that some of the people in Hillary Clinton's camp had tapped into some servers of Trump before he became president, and they were spying on him, and actually went into when he was seated in the presidency, so they were actually spying on him when he was sitting in the White House there. So I don't think it's come to the point where they're actually starting to subpoena people, and they're coming down with charges and everything like that. But that seemed to be the big news up into the war with the Ukraine here started. But It seems pretty legit. I'm not really sure. The way I feel, I'd like to see what's going to happen as a result of that.
Yeah. I guess I don't know much about it. The information you just told me, but definitely interesting. See what happens from here. I definitely feel like that's not okay. So
yeah,
it's not. I mean, if obviously we can't have that, so follow the process we have in place here in America, and subpoena them, pull them to court, go through the whole thing, and if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I think if it happens to be true, then they're saying that's got to be worse than Watergate. So, that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that have come to light after years and years of being in the dark that go through political sides. So that's kind of why I don't trust a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this isn't, and in 30 years, there's going to be something else that comes out of whatever's going on at that time. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate, but that's the way our system works. They go after each other instead of building themselves up. So.
Yeah, I like that about Trump. Not that I like Trump, but I like that about him and him being in office, and it because it's a lot of things are coming to the front, whether it's on him or it's on other people. A lot of things are coming forward, and a lot of people are becoming aware of things.
Yeah.
So I hope we answered your question pretty well there, Pete. It's one of those things I really I have followed it. I don't know exactly. I'm not sure what to believe yet, but I'll see it when it gets there. I was following it, like I said, until the war hit. But I like to see where this comes out at. If it's true,
and also, in reality world too, it doesn't surprise me. You know what I mean? It's politics and lawyers. You know what I mean? Not much they're going to do that surprise you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
When things like this come out, you're like, yeah, I bet you they were, because they're politicians.
Yeah.
that's what they do. You know what I mean?
That's funny. That is funny. So let's go to some questions here. Some of the emails I have here. I'm going to check these out.
Pete, thank you. We appreciate your question.
Yeah. Too bad.
Those are our opinions. I mean, I wish I could get into detail about it. I wish I could expound on it more. It's just something that, like I said, there's certain things that shock me and surprise me. This wouldn't be one of them. Kind of used to it now, huh?
I got a couple questions here from Nick, and I'm going to try and spread them around because some are going to be, from what I'm reading, politically related, and some are just going to be off the wall stuff. So
I'm down.
Nick says, I have a few questions here for you. Would you rather go to war against a dinosaur or a giant insect?
Nice. So what, do I get to choose a dinosaur?
Yeah, you could.
Well, then a dinosaur, because I'll take a little tiny one and just kick it or whatever.
I don't think a dinosaur would be.
Or a giant insect.
Yeah, it's either one or the other. So you're going against going to war against either a giant dinosaur or a giant insect.
All right, giant dinosaur. All right, that changes it. If they're two giants, I think I'd rather do it's got to be the insect then.
Yeah, you would go to war against giant insects, not me.
No, you'd go dinosaurs?
No, I'd go dinosaurs.
Yeah, that sounds safer, but
it does.
I don't know why. I feel like even if they're real big, I could smash them. You know what I mean? I don't know why.
Would you rather skydive or scuba dive?
Oh, that's a really good one, Nick. I like these would you rather. This is more of my lane. What you answer first? I got to think about it.
I think I would go with skydiving.
Yeah.
I would rather go skydiving, even though I have no
interest.
Yeah, right now I don't have no interest to do either or.
I've always had an interest to skydive. I always felt like that would be fun, adrenaline rush. I like the adrenaline side of it. But something about scuba diving and being able to go deep and go down in there, and that's scary because that's less known. You know what I mean? You're just falling, hoping the parachute opens. When you go down there, you could run into anything. Which is what I like. I like that.
No, I say I couldn't do that. So I would have to go with skydiving. I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm gonna go scuba diving.
Scuba diving, nice. And then he said for a debate, electric smart car or classic muscle car.
Classic muscle. That's not even. You didn't even have to finish. Classic muscle for sure.
Yeah, I can care less either way.
Yeah, I have nothing against the electric smart car. I think that's cool. I think it's obviously I'm not against the progression of cars. It's just a class. I'm a classic car guy. I'd prefer that over any type of modern car. I don't know why, but it's the way I was born and raised.
I was thinking about the electric cars. We need actually for electric cars is for like when Henry Ford came out with the Model T. You know, he mass produced them, and he made them so cheap that everybody was able to buy them. We need the same thing for electric cars.
Yeah.
You know?
The only thing that makes me nervous about electric cars, I think that's eventually, it could be, split 50-50 down the middle, but they have to figure out what to do with those batteries.
Yeah.
The batteries are what concern me the most. Disposing of those batteries, and, a car, you can break it down and reuse it, recycle it. Those batteries are not going to be, from what I understand, recyclable, reusable.
Yeah, I don't think they've really hit the nail on the head when it comes to this green power or this electric power.
I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like the thought of it. It's just there's some things like, all right, now you're plugging into a place at a gas station in the back of it that's being ran off the grid, that's run off of coal power anyways, that you're trying to avoid. Why isn't there solar panels across the back of those? Why isn't there just little things that we got to start now progressing? But it's got to start somewhere. So the thing I don't like is it's the driving itself. That's inevitably, I don't think I could trust something like that yet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get in a car in the passenger seat, hit a destination, and take a nap.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah, he did say smart cars, and I'm thinking electric cars. I do like for us to progress. I would like for them to figure that out. But like I said, I want somebody in the industry to put out that first cheap car that everybody buys. And let us deal with it. You know what I mean? And get it to the point of where your local mechanic can work on it. Quit making this stuff that is so smart and so advanced that it costs more than what the car costs to go get it fixed if something does break down on it. That's the thing about muscle cars and everything. You can work on them things.
You can work on the side of the road. You know what I mean? You need
right.
Spark, fuel, and oxygen. That's all you need. So
yeah, I don't see if they do start putting them out and everything like that. Are they teaching that in schools or anything?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. At this point, they're teaching a lot in schools nowadays. So
I got my car broke down. I got to take it to the IT guy. You know what I mean?
But something like that, something I could see is, I got my American big truck in the driveway, but I got to go to work every day. I drive 38 to 39 miles to work every day, so I could have myself a nice little work car and cheap gas. I don't have to worry about gas and just get there and get back every day, same routine. It makes sense for that, but I don't think I could trust it daily.
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet. I think eventually we'll get there, but it would be nice to just hop into something and that drives you to work so you can sleep. So then you can add that sleep time into your, what I mean?
A pillow and a blanket in the passenger seat. You don't even have you can't.
Yeah.
But no, I take a 70 Charger, 65 Cornet, something like that, a 70 Cuda, something in that range. A million times over before I'd take a smart car right now.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm the same way. And then this last one is just says dogs or cats.
Dogs.
Really?
Oh, please. Yeah.
I like them both.
And you would.
Yeah. I like a good dog. I can't have a dog here where we're at, but we have cats. I love cats. I like dogs. I'm very picky about dogs, though. A dog has to be
well behaved.
Not so much that purpose serving for me. I like dogs that are alert. Not saying a specific kind, but I like a dog that's
could be a guard dog if needed.
Could be a guard dog. When I had my two dogs, I had a boxer, and the other one was half Doberman, half wolf. Oof. And they were both females, and I never slept so good in my life because they were always there, alert, ready to go, and dogs are just something. When somebody knocks at that door,
if they're aggressive, they're
the first ones there. That gives you time to get your bearings, get locked and loaded if you have to, and that dog's not going to let you down. They're very loyal, and I do love dogs for that. But having a dog, in some cases, it's like having kids. There's a little bit more care there with dogs than there is
requirement.
with cats.
Like you can't be gone for. You're not someone who can be gone for a couple of days. Yeah. It's not like,
Where I like my cats, that I know that if we had mice or anything, when bugs fly in, they're going crazy after it. So I like that too. You know what I mean? So they're just different, and they're totally different personalities. But my cat's got personalities. Both of them do. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say both. And if it's one or the other, then if I had to pick, then
you have to.
I'd probably pick a dog because they're more.
Useful in your opinion?
Not so much useful, but
Purpose.
Not only purpose, but you can have more of a relationship with the dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can take them anywhere. If I open the door and tell my cat, "Come on,"
Just in the car.
yeah, that cat's taking off the other way. You know what I mean? Like.
And for that reason, I hate a cat. You know what I mean? They just think they're better than everybody. I hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
But so if I had to pick, so I would pick a dog because there's more that comes with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do love cats.
My wife and I don't want any animals. Like, we don't have any animals at our house. I grew up around a lot of animals. My parents always had dogs, cats, goats, chickens. I mean, you name it, they had it. And we lived in Lorraine, so it wasn't like we lived in a country house, so we we always had animals, always had you had to feed them, clean up after them. You couldn't go, you had to be home to do this and do that. I'm good. I don't want that attachment. So I say dogs knowing that it comes with, if you leave, you have to find someone to come over and let the dog out. It's a lot like having a child. It's a lot like a responsibility, for sure.
I like the story you told me about drunk guy walked into your mom's house.
Oh yeah, we had at that time we had a Rottweiler, I think, and my mom was sleeping on the couch. My mom in Lorraine, and the guy drunk walking down the road just happened to choose our house. Walked in, and we never locked our doors either. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's how it was. We didn't. You came in, it was the same thing. You came in, you could open that back door, but that dog. A second he knew it wasn't someone that was supposed to come through that back door, you didn't want to be there,
Yeah.
And he tore him up, got him out, and the guy took off. I don't even know if he ended up going to the hospital or not. He was out.
And didn't your dad get mad that your mom was holding the dog
Yeah,
back?
my mom jumped up, held the dog back, told him to leave, but was holding the dog back. It's dragging her off the couch to go after the guy. And my dad got out like, let the fucking dog go. And once she did, that guy was gone. He was gone.
Yeah, let it do its job.
Yeah, and the guy wasn't. I don't think the guy was trying to cause any harm. I think he was just super drunk and didn't know where he was and just chose the wrong house. He chose the wrong house to walk into. So
that's no excuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drunk or not, don't come into this house.
And it cost him. I'm sure he needed some stitches because that dog caught him a few times.
That's pretty good.
And
That's pretty good stuff.
And I mean, it wasn't like the dog was a vicious dog. I mean, I didn't like the dog, but he was a good. It was a good protect dog. We also had a German Shepherd growing up. Had boxer, bulldogs, mix. We had everything you could think of. So the German Shepherd was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. We had a bunch of cats. I could tell you their names, but I couldn't even tell you what. Not in a bad way. I never walked by and like kicked the cat or anything, but I never paid attention to cats. Growing up, I was that way. Not that I was a huge dog fan. I knew I didn't care about cats.
Right.
I'm one of them people.
Yeah.
So, but our German Shepherd was, like you're saying, that was the guy. His name was Yukon. I still remember him. He was the guy that if a kid in our yard started, roughhousing us, that dog would get aggressive. We had to be like, hey, no.
Yeah.
So definitely purposeful.
Me growing up, my best friend, any dog they ever had, nobody was allowed around them dogs. Mm-hmm. Not even me being his best friend. Mm-hmm. Nobody. That's the way they raised their dogs.
Yeah.
Only they were allowed around them dogs. So when we would come over to play, they would lock that dog up. Mm-hmm. They would never but there was a purpose behind that. Yeah. They didn't want anybody when they went to bed.
That's so when the moment came and someone did cross that line, they knew it's time to go. That's the point. Yeah.
And that was pretty good. Okay.
I appreciate the questions. I like those. I actually prefer those. I like the would you rathers. I got a few would you rathers too.
Let's try giving another call here. Actually, we only have it down to 2 calls. The rest are going to be comments on there.
Well, let's take another. Oh, you want to do call then? All right.
You want to take another question? We'll do another question. Let's see. This one will be from Catherine.
Okay.
What is your most memorable moment from the podcast this far?
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Mine were some things that we probably didn't get to air because we got to talk to some people that had some pretty cool stories. You know what I mean? We did get to meet some people, go places. So it's hard to, first things that pop up are thinking about, talking to a homicide detective, which I watch homicide mystery all the time. Like I know the code in Netflix. If you go on Netflix and you search 9875, it'll be all murder mysteries that come up.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I type in that and I just watch whatever they show nonstop. So talking to a detective was right up there with, and then the gun range. That was fun. That was a fun time. It was just a lot of good people and a good time. So
I honestly, I don't have one that sticks out more than the other because I've been caught up with everything, so trying to come up with content, trying to figure out the equipment, always trying to figure out what we're going to be doing next. So to say best one, it's like you said, we have some episodes that we couldn't air because the sound quality was bad. I just really appreciate when I do approach somebody and said, hey, would you like to be on the show? And they say yes. That's awesome because, would I say yes if somebody approached me? Because I don't have any one thing in particular that you could do a show on, so I don't have a moment. I would say if I do, I think my favorite part was when I approached you and we were talking about it and then realized that you would be interested. I think that's when I was my happiest because I was looking for a partner in this and was so mad that I didn't come to you first.
Yeah, we talked about it. 12 years. We sat next to each other every day. Like I was, and we never talked about this type of thing ever.
So, yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a moment. So I all of them for every different reasons I like, you know what I mean? When we did George and we went to his place, when we did the gun range, we went to their place, or had people in here and Angel came here and just every experience, it just learning a lot, so I don't know.
And if I was to look at that question different, because it's very similar, like I said, I just thought of the first two and continuing thinking, like you're saying, everything, going to the car lot and seeing all those cars. And it was just, I'm a car guy. We just talked about it. So going to George's lot, it's just everything about that was interesting. But coming at it from another angle, my favorite one so far has definitely been the reaction video, only because it allowed us just to. That was our easiest and most relatable. That's us in a nutshell. That's just us turning on our phones and watching some things and laughing about it.
That comes into the next question. Then what new content can we expect in 2022? So that.
I appreciate those questions. It's a good one.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine.
I like the reaction videos. I want to do like blind taste test videos. Those are things that I would like to do. I'd have to put a little more effort into seeing those come true. That's on me. So 2022, I'll do that. I'll make sure that we get a couple more. But those are some things I'm looking into. I know John has his.
No, I would say the same thing for me. It's just getting better with the editing and the content and everything like that. So what can we look? I do have a list of people that I have to get in contact with for us to do some more episodes. But I did pick up a camera with a microphone. We were talking about that before. So I'd like to get into more adventurous stuff. I do have some things that, that I'll bring out later on as we get closer. I don't want to ruin them, but I got things that I want us to be out and about. I want to see, getting out there and doing stuff.
And one of our things that I haven't forgot about is our Steve McDonald episode, where we talked about going to a campsite and putting some of the survival things we have.
Exactly.
On the chopping block. So doing a review of those and seeing if they work or if they break or, you know what I mean? or if we're even there all night, you know?
Yeah.
If we're at the motel down the street.
So, yeah, we do have some more interviews coming up. I do want to talk with somebody who was working during COVID. I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
That's probably going to be our next one. I want to see how it had affected them and within their jobs. And I do like the TikTok. I was kind of bummed that first day. You know, when we did that one, I wasn't really feeling up to it. But you charged ahead and you.
Well, I like those videos. I like
Yeah,
that.
those were very good, and we got a lot of good responses off of that. So we'll have some more. Actually, the next one we do, my wife says, "Oh, I got some better ones," so she's going to put some together for us to react to. So you'll be seeing more of that. Like I said, it's just getting out there and some of the stuff we have. People are just busy.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. So when we got to come up with content, there'll be times where I'll have 4 or 5 things lined up because maybe 3 of them will fall through, But yeah, like I said, in the summertime, I'd like for us to get out a little bit more, do a little bit more adventure ones, some funny stuff, bring out the good stuff. So thank you, Catherine, on that. I got the list there of questions. Who we got? Let's see.
What about Casey? Let's see what Casey has to say.
Casey. Now, Casey,
wanna
let me
save
tell you
that, or-
something. Yeah. Casey's a great guy. And actually, when I was first coming up with the show, Casey was actually one of the first people I approached and said, Casey, I'd love to have you on the show.
I'd like to hear some things.
Yeah, but the hard part, and I tell him that all the time, is Casey knows so much, and I wouldn't even know how to interview him. I really wouldn't. And I tell him that all the time. I said, Casey, it's not that I don't want to have you on the show. I just don't know which way to go with this when it comes to you, because he knows so much in every area, and the guy is great, and some of the things it's out there and some of the things he's spot on, and guys back in the day who used to talk about weird stuff, you would say, oh, that, but lately, everything we've seen,
He might be making sense nowadays.
you got to pay attention to it all. So let's see what Casey's got. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the Russian invasion of the Ukraine because they are destroying U.S.-funded bioweapon factories near the border?
Is it because of that, or is that just a factor?
And he sent a bunch of stuff here. See, that's why I wanted to give Casey a chance, and but he's into some good stuff, and it's like usually when he gives me something to read,
It's a lot.
it's a lot of reading, but it all makes sense. I don't know if this is a rabbit hole I want to go down, but I did say we'd answer it honestly.
Well, I mean, I don't know too much about that. As far as I know, that we talked about on the east side of the river there, that group of Ukraine actually wants to be part of Russia. They're actually separated from Ukraine itself, anyways.
Yeah.
What's all involved in Russia invading Ukraine? I'm sure it's not one single thing. I'm sure there's multiple things.
Yeah.
That's decided this, but. Going back to even earlier in this episode that we talked about things that we couldn't air because of audio equipment, this is right up that alley. When we started this, our first episode that we could not air was disgusting. Nope.
No.
It wasn't. It was discussing it.
It wasn't disgusting.
It wasn't disgusting.
Discussing.
Yeah, there we go. Our first language is English, too.
Yeah.
But we were discussing this exact thing. How long ago now? Like, this wasn't just recently. This was the first time we ever sat down and did anything together as a real podcast was discussing. Jesus.
No, discussing.
Yes. This topic right here.
Yeah.
We were talking about this thing right here.
Exactly. And it makes me, I'm tripping over this, and I'm wondering if you're tripping over it because.
Remember how I said nothing surprises me? This is something that I was like, wow, I can't believe. What is trippy is we had an inside guy, like not an inside guy. Don't make it sound like we know some people, but we had a Ukrainian. What do you call it?
He's not he was
citizen.
born there.
He was there, but he's a US
Ukrainian
citizen.
American.
Yes, and he was exactly. So we have a Ukrainian American that we did our first show on, and we were we were talking about war and about how this was inevitable, how they all knew this isn't an overnight thing. We didn't just, this is decades of this inevitably going to happen.
Yeah, he was talking a lot about how the Ukraine was, and not saying that, the Ukraine doesn't deserve this, what's going on, but was talking about the different lifestyles between us and the Ukraine, because he go back to the Ukraine every year, and go see family and friends. And I've been thinking about him a lot too, and I'm kind of mad that, that was the one show we tried it 3 times, and the audio just did not come through for that. We had a rough time with that, So
and that was before you got some new equipment, and it was some jacks in the equipment. You never know what it's going to be. So, and
everything I tried, we just never got the audio on it, but we did learn a lot about the Ukraine at the time.
I could tell. We discussed. We talked about so many things that. Same thing you said. You remember what we talked about. We discussed it, and then we sit there and we see it unfold years later. This was probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah. No, it was under a year ago.
Yeah,
because,
about a year ago.
Yeah.
It was right towards the end of summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's a trip because he did talk about the lifestyle. We talked a little bit about growing up, not so much him, but his father growing up under communist rule. The different lifestyle. We talked about how the money there. The American dollar is so strong there. We talked about everything.
Yep.
He had lost his phone, and some guy found it. And he called his phone. The guy answered, and the guy said, "Yeah, I'll meet up with you." And this is in the Ukraine. And he met up with the guy, and he gave the guy. He said, "I gave him however what." Yeah. And I said, "Well, what's that worth?" It was something like $40, $50.
Yeah, he gave him
and I said, "What is that worth to that guy?" And he said, "What, like a week and a half, 2 weeks
like
pay
salary?" Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I'm like, wow.
And the guy still kind of seemed like, "Hey, I should have gave me more because I got your phone back." You know what I mean? Wow, that's
No, I didn't take it as that. I think the guy didn't want the money. And my buddy was like, "Yeah, hey,
I
appreciate you. My phone is everything because he runs his business through it." But I think about him a lot, especially since all this happened. I'm sure I know some Russians, but I know a lot of Ukrainians, and this is very scary times. And he was the first person I thought. So the things when I talk to somebody, I don't sit there and I'm getting all my information from the news. Usually if something's going down, I know somebody, and I'll call them and ask them, like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And they'll tell me what's going on. And I have a better... to me, that's a better source of information than getting it from the news, because you don't know what to trust anymore. I know somebody somewhere that knows somebody somewhere that I can get the answer to and come up with my own decision after that. So to say maybe Biden's behind something, I don't know. So
I don't think if he's too dumb to run a country, he's too dumb to be behind something like that.
Yeah, but you never know. I did wonder that too. I wonder what's going to come as it, because this is weird. This whole thing going down. I mean, a war is tragic, but there's something weird about it.
Well, everyone's equating it to a World War III or a attack on NATO or whatever. They're saying like what it could become is something that big, which hopefully not. Hopefully it doesn't, but. Similar to the politics things, war seems to be inevitable. If we're talking about, just life in general, war has been a part of our life as humans the entire time. So it's inevitable.
So I don't know how to exactly answer that, Casey, but I do pass it on to the other people that Casey has sent some stuff here that
And like I said, I'm not saying that isn't a part of it. Whatever the border, the nuclear plants at the border or something that they control now.
Who, us?
No, that what Casey was asking about.
Destroying U.S. funded bioweapons factory.
Oh, So I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure that was another piece of the puzzle, but I don't believe that's the only thing that said, all right, that's it. It's time now.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't answer that. But like I was going to say, if you guys want to check it out, there's a lot of information on it. So there's going to be a lot of today's the day and age of conspiracies and everything. It is what it is. So you're going to find out there's a lot of things behind everything, and politics is involved everywhere. And this is definitely something political. So. Thank you, Casey, for that. And you know what? We're just going to have you on one of these days so that you can explain a lot of stuff. And I'm sure Tom and I are going to be totally lost.
Yeah, I'll ask as many questions as I possibly can. But
So, yeah, let's move on to we got Chrissy. Let's move on to Chrissy. Let's try something from Chrissy. Okay, her first question. So if Tom doesn't like the Beatles, what artist from that era does he like?
From that era?
Yeah.
Ooh. You got Google on your phone, pull up some bands from that era. I'll let you know.
The Rolling Stones.
Yeah, I don't mind the Rolling Stones.
The Who.
I'm more of a Rolling Stones kind of guy.
Let me see. You mentioned Jimi Hendrix. He was out back then.
So let me say, when it comes to that era, I listen to, a bunch of different kinds of music, but my lane tends to be more like hip hop, R&B, rap, and other musical bands after that. I like everything, but if I'm in the car and I'm not listening to a hip hop song or some sort of more modern R&B or something, then I'm probably going to be listening to a podcast. If I'm not listening to that, there's Leon Bridges. You know who Leon Bridges is? Leon Bridges is someone I listen to. The Teskey Brothers. I don't know if you know who the Teskey Brothers are. So these are all more soulful bands. I like a little bit more bluesy, a little bit more soulful style music. If I had to say like what I listened to as far as rock and roll goes, and I really got into when I was younger, Iron Maiden was one of the bands that I really liked them. I really enjoyed that style of music there for a while. So if I had to say a band that I listened to that I really enjoyed back in the day was Iron Maiden.
Okay. Yeah, I would put the Beatles as 60s music. I personally, even though she didn't ask me the question, I liked it all. You know what I mean? There are some bands that I was like, you know what I mean? But pretty good times, I'm not saying it's the best music ever.
But if you get in a car and you're going on a car ride, what do you put in? What's going to be the average playlist for you?
Talk radio right now, you know what I mean? It's hard to say. Because
minus talk radio.
Minus talk radio. I like, I'm all over the place. I do have oldies, I have, my stations are 92, 93, 102, 104.
I don't listen to, I don't listen
you know
to
what
radio.
I mean? I have an old radio. And the bad part is my radio cut out every so often. I got to get a new radio.
You start whistling?
Yeah, I just talk to people while I'm driving.
Wave No, but if I'm on the road and I'm getting ready to go and I'm getting ready to take a cruise and I want to listen to music, I might throw in some 2000 hip hop or some recently I listened to a lot of Joyner Lucas. I'm sure most people out there that are younger know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, that's why I said it was hard for me we talked about this during that debate where it's hard for me to do that debate because we may even joked with how it said Tom hate the Beatles on the headline. We laughed because I don't hate the Beatles. It's just, it's fun. Whenever you say you don't like them, it turns into something.
There's some people, a couple people came up to me and said, I'm either with Tom or I'm Team Beatles, or whatever. So,
and I get it. Like that's why it makes me laugh. So if you notice me, that's what I like the most. So like even when it comes to politics, someone far right or far left, I would rather. I don't want to sound like a bully. I'd rather play with that than I would debate it or argue it or listen to. I want to. If you're far right, if you're a far one way of anything, even Beatles, or if you're far, the LeBron thing, that's another thing in the sports world or in car world, Mopar, Chevy. I'm a Ford car, nothing.
Yeah.
All right, guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that though. I like that's what entertains me. So
Her next question is, most of your guests are co-workers of yours. What industry are you in?
well, I'm actually surprised this came up. We did talk about this before we started the podcast, and we try to just avoid that conversation.
Yeah.
Not in a negative way, just
I think it's because before we talk about it, or mention it, because our job doesn't, they may or may not approve of this, and we don't want to make it seem like I don't want to make it seem like I'm a representative of them.
yeah. I don't want in today's age, I can't afford to be the 100 subscribers we have to be part of cancel culture and not get a job. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
exactly.
And I don't want to attach my name to any company that doesn't feel the same way I feel, or that it matters, in something that's small, detailed.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked me, why don't you talk about things from work? Well, because I don't think my job would appreciate it, because they may or may not disagree.
And
or
there's some
agree
confidentiality
with-
things. So if
yeah,
I say, we try to definitely avoid any process, things to talk about or that of our job. But, that's not who we are on this podcast. So that's why we always try to avoid it. But with that being said, we work in the steel industry.
Yeah.
I really enjoy our job as far as what we do, as far as it's really interesting to see everything. I've seen the process from front to back. So steel making, literally from when it comes in as a hunk of scrap to when it leaves on a truck. I could tell you the entire process from there. So it's just interesting to watch that process go down. I find it intriguing.
What I like about it is the people, and that's why I do get a lot of people who can come on, and do the show, and their interest, because there's so many people there, and everybody comes from a different walk of life. So, that's what I like about it. So you could always find somebody to relate to. You got your older and you got your younger. You got your kids that are in to everything that's today, and then you got your people into everything that was yesterday. You got your politics. You got your jokesters. You got your you name it. There's somebody there that's has something to do with it.
Do you remember when we first started working together, what you said to me and why because we talked about this even just on the side of the furnace one day, on the side of working one day, we were talking about this.
What's that?
How you said you enjoyed it because it reminds you similar of the military, where there's a similar vibe of camaraderie in the military, and just that you're on this crew, then you move to that crew, and you go here, and there's that very similar in the climbing of the ladder, the ranks, all that stuff that happens in a grown up business like that is similar to a military thing, and that always stuck with me when you told me that.
And the other reason why I don't like to talk about it is because. I believe when you said the confidentiality of working for a company, I think when somebody employs you to do something, you don't use that time to benefit yourself. You're there as for a reason, to get paid to do a job that they're asking you. That's why on certain things, Kaepernick, I'm not against of what he was standing for, not at all. I'm just against of like, hey, now the NFL is for it, but at the time I was like, you got to do that on your own time. I get it, and I don't care what people think. I get it, that some people were against it, but for me, I was like, you're using the NFL. You're on their dime. If you want to
put together a press conference,
you want to do something and be a part of something, do it on your own time. And that's what this show is compared to the people we work for. I'm not going to use them, what I mean, to try and get further. This is my thing, what I mean, our thing. It's not their thing, so I don't want to mention them by name. Nope. I will tell you, what we work in a steel mill, but I don't want to I don't want to put my job in jeopardy because it didn't agree with something that or what I'm trying to say.
It's we're too silly and too goofy to attach our names to any company that may be offended by something we say, even though we're not even at that level yet. We get it, but we just don't want to even. That's a whole nother can of worms we just don't even want to open.
Yeah,
it really isn't.
Trust me, we're going to get there.
But yeah, what we do though is if you want to see what we do on a daily basis, Dirty Jobs. I know it's on Discovery Plus. You can look it up on if you have Discovery Plus or on demand. But Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe. They went to a steel mill one time, and it's very similar to how we operate our jobs. So if you watch that episode, I don't remember the episode itself, but they had the same, very similar buckets, very similar, everything that we're used to seeing. You've seen it in that video. So
I remember you telling me to watch for whenever he touches something.
every time. So every time it's the funniest thing, because when you see people who don't work in a steel mill, and they give them all these gloves, and that doesn't mean it's that you can grab something. That's just to stop it from hurting real bad when you do. So he kept grabbing handrails, and everything's hot. There's nothing that's not hot there. So every time he grabs something, he'd pull his hand back real fast and real hard. And they're like, what part of this being hot don't you? And he's like, I thought I could touch stuff with these gloves. And it's just, and even better, my favorite part there is they had him cleaning out one of the ladles. And he walked in front of it, and he had his visor on, his face drop and all that, and it just melted in the smoke. And he came out, it's so hot that the air is hot. So even if you take your face mask off and you go take that first, it's still hot. There's still heat coming.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. If you want to see what we do, take a look at that episode, Micro Dirty Jobs.
Yeah.
Steel making.
Unless the company approaches us one of these days and said, hey, we want to do a show, but I doubt it. So next question. I would love to hear more about your Army days and whether you think it has changed now, better then or now.
So I agree with this one. This was from Chrissy still, right?
Yes.
So Chrissy, I just to let you know, I one, I appreciate all your questions, everybody. And two, this is something I actually have asked John to talk about a little bit more, because I enjoy your overseas days and your stories about being in the Army. We've met a couple Army buddies recently. Mm-hmm. So it's just really, it's interesting. One, we appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Two, you have good stories about being in the Army. So
yeah, I got a lot of stories. I spent 4 years, was in 87 to 91. Mm-hmm. I was fresh out of high school. I was, I think, 2 months exactly. And next, I'm in the Army. Kind of joined on a whim. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even realize I was there until I got into basic. And it kind of hit me hard at first, because what did I do? What did I do? And, the whole time I'm in, I wanted to get out, so, but I'm glad I didn't. And when it changed for me, wanting to get out or putting that out there, is when the war hit, Desert Storm. Then I shut up because I didn't want to be that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So had a lot of fun, met a lot of people. I was all over the U.S. I did all kinds of things you can think of. I have, it was like 4 years of it, there never was a dull day. You know what I mean? So even if there was a dull day, I remember me and my buddy, we took some sleeping pills, something over the counter to try and then try fighting staying awake, because we had nothing to do. It was storming outside. We couldn't go outside, you know what I mean? We were clearly stuck in for that day.
Yeah.
So he says, hey, I got some...
Worst case scenario is you're sleeping all day long, so pop a few of these pills.
I got some sleep aids. Let's play. So we popped like 2 or 3, and I remember us just.
Who won?
I don't remember. We fell asleep, but it was fun. It's stupid shit like that. It did a lot of stupid stuff in the Army. But I met a lot of great people, and I had a lot of fun. I was going to be a cop, and I decided not to at the end. So had nothing else to fall back on when I got out. Had I wanted to be a cop, I had a lot of training for it, but it was not something I wanted to pursue. But I went everywhere from Fort Lewis, Washington, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Fort McClellan, Alabama, over to Korea, so.
And that's the part that always intrigued me. I know me and you talked the most when we would work side by side about the Korea days, because we ended up going to a Korea house for food, and we ended up spending a lot of time, bonding over, because I was a food guy prior to working in the mill, so I appreciated good food, and we went to the Korea house, and just the experience of walking in and your table being able to speak, being able to speak Korean to and not even, they just brought food to us, and it was such a cool experience. I was just like, man, it must have been, the food over there must have been so good.
Oh, it was amazing.
You said you walked down and got a real bowl of real ramen for cheap too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, you would walk right down the street and there'd be a tent there, a canvas tent, and steam coming out of the top, and you go inside there and sit down, and they'd give you, it's street food, and the best advice before I went there was a sergeant. He knew I was going to Korea, and he came up to me and he said, you want to have a good time over there, and he said, because I was kind of upset I was going. I had about a year and a half left in the Army, and now I'm going to go to Korea. Yeah. I know it's a year tour, so I know I'm not going to have enough time to come back, so I know I'm going to spend a whole year and a half over in Korea. So I was kind of bummed, but he said, while you're over there, if you want to have a good time, forget you're American. Don't be that guy. Yeah. And he goes, do as the Romans do. It says, and I took that to heart and ate the food, and I walked among the people, and I had a great time.
Awesome, huh?
I had a great time. I had a blast. So I got out. The war was going on. A sergeant of mine had said, I think they're going to open up, because we got involuntary extended, and he said, I think they're going to open up the window, or the door for a little bit, and they're going to start letting some people out, because the war was already, it was like 90 days. Yeah. So, he said, you have any leave yet? And I said, yeah, I got like 45 days. He said, let's put it in. He said, the worst thing that you can do is say no.
Yeah.
So I put it in, and I remember on my birthday, I got my orders. They were letting me out. So
that's
I got
awesome,
out.
Huh?
Yeah, so, and it's like...
but it's experience that you wouldn't change, even though you didn't want to go Korea. I mean, to go to so you go to a different country, it's not like just going to like Canada or I'm not saying anything bad, but to go to Korea, small Korea, you're not even, can't even go to the other side, you know what I mean? It's a totally different way. It's not like going to a country that you could be familiar with, or...
Yeah, to me, it makes you appreciate more what you got here. And I'm surprised to see a lot of guys who have done it, and not so much Korea, but gone overseas or something like that, come back here and they hate this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you see things for differently, because you realize, over there, even something like Korea that is Americanized, there's still a lot of things that they don't do like Americans do, so... there's a lot of things that I learned, I was in Japan, and then I went over to Korea, and, just seeing life differently, and it's awesome, and I wasn't there visiting as on a vacation. I was living there.
Yeah.
So I learned the language, and learned my way around, because I remember I was there for a couple of weeks, and my roommate and I had went out, and he's talking to the taxi driver and taking us out. And I remember thinking, I want to be like him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Smooth.
Yeah. So I want to be independent like how he was. So by the end, I was that guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I learned the language well enough, and great people, great food, and I'm kind of bummed that I can't make it back there. But if I had a chance to get back there, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, on a vacation this time.
On a vacation, but I wouldn't want to go for a week. I'd want to go for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, spend some time
there.
Get that feeling back.
Yeah, because I was there, and to have a place that's not catered to Americans, to be somewhere that there's no English, you know what I mean, and you don't know the food, so you have to learn everything as you go along, and. Yeah, it was awesome,
Yeah.
And I look back at, online, and I'll look up one of the places we used to hang out at, and it's changed, but it looks like it's better.
Yeah.
When I was there, it was just alleys and dives, but now I see that they really invested into these places, and then I look there and I'm like, wow, that looks great, so.
And the Korean culture is something that's always intrigued me. I've always, like I said, coming up as a food person, the food has always been at the top for me. That's one of my favorite foods is Korean food. And then, knowing a couple Korean, and then I studied some Korean martial arts as a child as well. So it was just one of those things where then I find out you and just learning it all. Then, like I said, we went to Korea House. That was the icing on the cake for me. That would have been awesome to be over in Korea eating food like that. There.
It was amazing. But you mentioned the martial arts. So, like, you see a group of guys fighting here, and they're swinging at each other.
Yeah.
Over there, they're kicking each other, literally, What is the...
Tang Sudo. That's what we took.
Taekwondo is the big thing. So, I think they believe that, and it's true, the leg is more powerful than the arm. So, everything, to see them fighting over there, street fights, it's awesome. But I was able to walk amongst them. I'd never had a problem.
Awesome.
I've never... I'm Mr. American, and this is how we do it in America. No, you know what I mean? I just kept my head straight, and I wasn't there, and everybody knew. But it was a great experience. A lot different than when my dad was there in the '60s, But I love the food.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I still love it to this day. Of the Asian foods, and I've had real Chinese food, not from a Chinese restaurant. I'm talking real Chinese food. Real Japanese food, and I still have to say that Korean's the best.
Yeah, Korean's my favorite.
It's the cleanest, and I'm bummed that I took my wife there to the Korea House one time, and the one time I go there, it was bad.
That sucks.
One time I take her, it was a bad.
And she's like, no, I don't like this.
Yeah,
You're like, no, trust me, this is... Because it's phenomenal food. The kimchi's, I could eat... Oh, anyways.
and there's a lot of stories. I really can't sit here and come up with 101 stories. You know what I mean? But as far as the military did it all, jumped out of helicopters.
What about a prank? The lights are. Is there one prank that stuck out? Were you guys a pranking group or no? Nobody really pranked each other?
Your regular pranks. No, nothing that
nothing
sticks
crazy.
out like that. As far as craziness, craziest thing I ever did in the Army. That's
That you can talk about.
Okay, I got one for you. Let me think. Okay, this is the second time I have the crabs.
Nice.
Okay?
Yes.
Second time. It's in Korea. Okay? So, got the crabs. Okay, so how I got them is a long story. I'm not even going to go there. So I got the crabs. Okay?
But he was a nice guy. Just kidding.
All right, so it's about 8, 9 o'clock. I'm at Camp Market, which Camp Market was, I had went from Seoul, Yongsan, and I'm at Camp Market, which is even farther away. So I'm at Camp Market. It's about 8, 9 o'clock at night. The PX is closed. I remember that. And the PX for us is your
pharmacy.
general store.
Yeah.
Your general store. They had everything.
All right.
Ours are small. So PX is closed. So I can't get, I know I have the crabs. I can't get any rid. Okay. So the next closest Army base is 45 minutes away on the train.
Oof.
So I don't want to go there, okay, because I've been noticing all day, I've been scratching. So go to the bathroom, okay. And this is me, I'm 20 years old, okay, in my mind.
Super smart.
Super,
have all the answers.
I have all the answers in the world, and my answer is I'm going to make my own poison to get rid of these crabs.
Good.
Okay, so.
That sounds so dumb.
But it made so much sense.
At that
then.
time, when
oh
you're
my
standing
God,
there,
did
you're
it
like,
make sense?
Dude, I'm a genius.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to make my own poison.
I don't even have to go. I don't even buy anything.
Yeah, why didn't anybody else think about this? So I go to the bathroom and I shave. Okay, that's the first thing I do, shave it all up. Like nice circumference. I'm bald, okay?
Anything inside this zone is gonna get it.
So at the time, I miss it, I had a towel. You put a towel, it was it's a towel with Velcro on it.
Yeah. So
So you wrap it around you, it
you
Velcros
walk
together,
around
and you
and
can
you're
walk
good.
around.
Yep.
And then I could hold my regular towel. It wasn't a towel for drying
Yeah.
yourself off, but you know what I mean?
instead of having a robe, you got this.
Yes,
Gotcha.
right. So got that, my chanclas, and and my towel.
Yeah.
So I go to my locker, and each room, I had one roommate, and we had our lockers in it, which is like a big locker, armoire kind of thing that you keep everything in. So I'm like, okay, what do I got that I can make poison?
Yeah.
Okay, so
And because I know crabs, and if I know crabs, they're not going to like some of this stuff.
I pick out two things, okay, and one was bleach. I found bleach. The other one was I had a Zippo lighter,
Butane?
butane, with the little thing you pop up and you squeeze it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
To fill the Zippo lighters with.
yeah, to put it in the back of it, you squeeze it, fill up that stuff. You know, so
That's what you used?
that was going to be my poison. So I
Let me guess.
well, I take off the towel. I'm standing there, cut my hand real good.
Look at this.
I pour some bleach in there, and I take the Zippo, the butane, and bam, okay, and I'm rubbing it all over.
How long did it take till it's just
Oh
wet?
wait, I did it twice.
Ooh, so you got a second load on
Yeah, I
there.
got a second load of bleach,
And you saw them scattering.
butane. I put it all over me. So instantly it starts to burn. Okay, but it
I'm
ain't
surprised
bad.
you got a second one on. Like, I really am. I'm surprised it got that far.
So it's burning. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking it's working.
Yeah, you're like, all right, cool.
It's working.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, it's starting to
All
burn.
right, it's still working.
Ooh, it's getting hot.
It's working even harder.
Okay, so let me walk to the bathroom with my chanclas
All right,
on.
slow down.
Click, 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 click.
You're like, all right, guy. All right, you're working.
So now I'm walking a little faster. Okay, so my room is down at the end of the hall. So you're talking about a good, I don't know, 30, 40 feet from, you know what I mean? From
15 feet too long, maybe?
Yeah. Walk to the bathroom. So now I'm in a panic. So I'm in the bathroom. I'm panicking. So I stick my junk on the sink. You know
And
what I
you're
mean?
20 around a bunch of other guys who
The
really care
funny
about
part
you.
is the place was always packed with people, and I don't remember
A single soul.
a single soul.
They could have been there, but
They could have been there, but I was on a mission. Okay.
You put them in the sink. You put
So I
everything.
put them in the sink, and I'm taking the soap, right? And I'm hitting that little thing with the soap, and nothing's coming out. You know what I mean?
good.
So I'm trying to wash it. You know what I mean? So I'm panicking.
seriously, are you, like-
now I'm panicking because it's starting to burn even more. So I'm like, And so in my mind, I'm like, oh
Water.
shit, and I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They don't. This wasn't right. Bad idea. Bad idea.
Bad idea. So I'm trying to wash it off. I can't wash. It's not coming off. So it's burning.
boy.
So I run back to my room. Okay. I grab my towel. I grab the soap. I run back to the bathroom. I go in the shower. So I'm trying to wash it off in the shower with my soap. It's not working. It's not working. So it's burning more and more and more. So now it's like pain. Like
And it's fresh shaven on top of that, so the pores are wide open. Wide open.
I don't know if it was the combination
I'm sure it was.
that I shaved, the butane,
That's not good.
you know what I mean?
bleach probably
the
didn't help either.
bleach, you know what I mean? So now I'm in a panic. I'm in there, I'm scrubbing my shit. I'm trying it. It's not going away. So I go running back to the room, and I'm looking in my locker like, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? So I grab some powder. I put some powder on it.
I'd have stayed out of that locker. I wouldn't. You keep going back to that locker, and it hasn't helped you yet, man.
It's not working.
No.
So run back to the bathroom, okay? And trying to wash it off again.
This whole time in your mind, are you thinking I'm burning it off? Like it's burning off? Like I'm gonna have burnt skin on my?
Yeah, I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm in a panic. I need to get it off.
Yeah. More importantly, let's get it off. Let's stop it from burning.
Like I was like in such a panic. What do? You call
There's nothing. Yeah.
Then you got the old phones. Hello, my dick is on fire. You know what I mean? Like, how do you?
Sorry, wrong number. I had the 7.
So I run back to my room. Okay, so I remember, and then we had an air conditioner on the side, like at a hotel. You go there. So I turn on the air conditioner. I'm squatted over it. Nothing's working. So I go to my bed. I'm in a panic. I mean, I'm hurting. So I try crying.
What about your roommates?
I don't even remember.
I tried to cry, still hurt,
Yeah,
still hurt, and I didn't do it because I was sad.
Nothing was coming out. It was so much pain. I got down. I tried praying. Nothing was working. Right. Went back over to the air conditioner. I'm standing over the air conditioner, and that felt kind of okay. You know what I mean? Now I'm like 10, 15 minutes into this. Okay, it's burning like bad. Like I don't know what to do. So I grabbed my sweatpants. I had a pair of cut-off sweatpants that I would wear, for sleeping. And I rip open the crotch. I pick up my sweatpants all the way up. I put my gym shoes on. Pick up my sweatpants all the way so that
They're just hanging out.
so it's hanging out.
And you're standing in front of.
Yeah, and it's wintertime, so I went outside and I ran running around the building outside. It's nighttime, you know what I mean? So I'm running around and it's starting to feel a little bit
Let
better.
the air hit it?
Yeah, it felt okay. And then finally I just kneeled down on some grass and I grab all this snow and I just pack it all in. Amazing. And it finally went away. It took I would say about 20, 25 minutes of pure pain.
And no crabs? Were they gone?
It worked.
Well, you learned. You know what I mean? Not for nothing. You know, it was not for nothing.
Not for nothing. And then
didn't have crabs.
2 or 3 days after that, it felt like you know how you walk and your thighs rub. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they
friction
rub
burn
raw
everywhere.
and everything like that. That's what it felt like that. And then 2 or 3 days after that, all my skin down there just peeled away.
Chemically burned. That's called a chemical burn. Yep.
I gave myself a chemical burn. Man, that was horrible. But yeah, I don't remember where my roommate was always there. The hallways were always filled with guys. You know what I mean? But it was always crazy stuff going on that I'm sure me running back and forth
Nobody.
half naked or me jumping and putting my shit in the sink to wash it. It was very.
Yeah, Steve just had that issue a week ago. You know what I mean? He had the same problem. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It was always it wasn't an uncommon thing, but I don't recommend using bleach or
Butane.
to make
That's
your own
weird.
poison for.
Because when you look at the back of those medication things, I'm almost positive some of them say bleach and butane. You know what I mean? Those are the chemicals in there.
But yeah, that was definitely the stupidest thing I ever done in the Army on purpose.
Would have just taken the 45-minute train ride next time?
Yeah, I think next time I get the crabs, I'm taking the 45-minute train. I'm going to go get the poison, and I'm going to put it on.
Then just go to sleep. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
and just let it.
Change my sheets in the morning.
Oh man, I can't believe I just told that story. So
That's awesome.
let's move
My
on.
favorite part of the story, though, is when you thought maybe crying would help it. You know?
Yeah, sit there and tried. I remember I knelt next to my bed and I was trying to push out some tears, and I was in too much pain. Nothing was coming out. Let me see. I watched your show from day one and enjoyed every episode. It's been fun watching you both become more comfortable in front of the camera. If you could have a do-over, which topic would you revisit?
If I could have a do-over? The Ukraine one, because we didn't get a chance to air it.
Yeah,
that we keep talking about it.
Yeah.
and I remember that was our first show, so I got super amped for it. And I don't know if you remember, but I did a lot of studying that one. Like I went in depth on that topic with our guests there that day. So that one not coming out, it was one that it wasn't political, so it fell in lines of just information. It wasn't like, hey, this is all about politics. It was more about, like I said, this is everything that's going down that you're seeing on your TV now. We were speaking to a Ukraine American about this a year ago. So he was telling us all this stuff and everything that's going on and how that was going down. And it was an interesting conversation.
It was.
We even got to the point where we talked about his father, how he served and how, even to the point of where they had 2 cars, and they were going to get in trouble if the one car wasn't sold by the end of the day.
No, it wasn't they were going to get in trouble. They got in trouble.
They got in trouble. So they had to have that car sold no matter what it was for. Just you had to have it gone. Like it couldn't be there. So that all that stuff that was you just learn about that, and then we got to talk about World War I and II, and about some of the stuff that I found intriguing, and he knew about it, and it's very interesting. So one of the things that we talked about, and I don't know if you remember this or not, John, but the thing that I find the most interesting about it, this whole scenario that's going down, is Ukraine has some of the best soil on earth. Mm-hmm. Their soil is phenomenal. They grow things in Ukraine very easily and can grow abundance of food at a rapid pace due to the soil that they have.
Do you know, not to cut you off, but it has to do with what you're saying. I'm watching the Transformers, and in one of the movies, they're at Chernobyl, mm-hmm. and they make quick mention about the soil there. Yeah. That how it's ruined. It's too bad that it's ruined mm-hmm. because of Chernobyl. Uh-huh. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. Uh-huh. Hearing about how great that soil is mm-hmm. for growing stuff.
Yeah, it's called black soil. That's what they call it. It's so that's the stuff that intrigues me, how we were discussing that. So I wouldn't say there was one I'd want to do over. It helped us learn. Going to Georgia's, we got to learn how to set up at a separate place. That was our first on-site location. So we got to learn from that. I would have done it different where, we maybe sat in a different spot but that helped us learn. So I wouldn't change that at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
I changed the first episode not being aired because it was fun. That was a good episode that we didn't get to put out.
Yeah. So if I can change anything, no, I it's the same thing. I wouldn't change anything. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, we had mentioned before, if anybody's interested and they want to come on, mm-hmm. we are looking for somebody who could help us out with a little bit of do a little bit of research. We had mentioned that, and because we'll come up with a subject, and sometimes it's just tough for us, It's tough for us all the way around. Same mm-hmm. thing, doing this here it's tough for us, and not complaining. Don't get us wrong. We're not complaining. It's just, we are looking for another person who would like to join and maybe come on once in a while, and. Mm-hmm. But somebody that can do the research part, mm-hmm. because there are a lot of things we won't touch solely because we have to do research. Yeah. And it's not that we don't want to do the research. We just don't have the time. Yeah. So if we can have somebody to come on and, okay, I've done the research for this, you can go ahead and go on with that. Because we have reached out to a lot of people, and a lot of people are like, okay, I want all the questions mm-hmm. in this format up front. It's like, well, I don't really know what I'm going to ask you yet until we talk. You know what I mean?
I need to find out about you first. First question, what's your name?
Yeah. and we're not trying to be a too overly formal show. Mm-hmm. We do want to talk about serious things, but we're trying to show more of the lighter side mm-hmm. of things, at the same time. So to change something.
And even that third person like we talked about would be something I'm interested in doing, is like a blind tasting like we talked about. We both coffee guys. We both enjoy coffee. Yeah. If we line up coffee and, we think we're a little snobby, which I don't think we are, but when it turns out we like Speedway coffee instead of the, $30 cup of coffee that we all thought was the best thing around. Something like that. A third person to help bring those in and do stuff like that. So, but yeah, so far mine would be the Ukraine episode. It's relevant now, so it would have been really cool to talk about.
That would have been nice. Okay, go ahead.
I said thank you. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, that was Chrissy, I believe. Chrissy, thank you. This one is actually from Michael. I don't know if it's a question or
comment.
A comment. So let me see. Our beloved leader, Biden. There's going to be a lot of political stuff here. So, like I said, I do want to get into some politics of mm-hmm. things, but I can't find the right people to come on. If you want to come on, you want to talk about anything, I have no issue. The mm-hmm. issue I do have is I don't want to put on the same side all the time to make it seem like that's what we are, because I'm open to listening to it. Yeah, I mentioned it before. I'm not. I don't believe a lot of things that these Democrats are doing are right. I don't believe in it. doesn't necessarily mean I'm Republican. Okay, so I'm actually, for me politically, I'm looking at the independent and the libertarian side of things to try to see, okay, maybe I fall in one of those, but I'm finding that I'm more of a liberal conservative. You know what I mean?
That's a centrist. So that's the same thing I'm saying. It's that
I'm finding I'm toward. I don't know, because there are some things I agree with, some things I don't. But I do know that.
and I think it's okay to say that your opinions can be fluid, as far as the more information and the older I get, the more I learn of certain things and how things work. My opinions change, my thoughts change. So to be a centrist is more or less just about both sides. And, not both sides, but I get it. There's some things I lean this way. There's some things I lean that way. But overall, I don't care about politics, but I know that they affect everyone and how we live. So you have to have some sort of understanding of how politics work, to the basics, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I just I want to see as we go through this Ukrainian Russian war, I want to see what is going to come out as a result of it. Like, what else are we going to find out about? And maybe that'll explain a lot of reasons why we're not moving in certain ways, or we as a country are not helping, because there might be some dirt there. You know what I mean? So you never know.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people don't like. I'm not going to let you, whoever you are, try and tell me if I like somebody that makes me this, that makes me that. I don't do that to you. So, I'm not going to hate somebody just because you hate them. You know what I mean? No matter what you call a person, I'm going to make that decision for myself. Okay. So if I ran my life according to the way a lot of people wanted me to, I wouldn't be friends with half of everybody. You know what I mean? So no. I have friends that are white. I have friends that are black. I have family that are white. I have family that are black. So to me, growing up Hispanic, I was kind of shielded from that, ignorant to a lot of things, because being Puerto Rican, they're all different kinds of Puerto Ricans. So to me, I didn't really learn about a lot of things, and I had to leave Lorraine to learn about what life is really like. You know what I mean? Because to me, growing up in that environment, I wasn't brought up in a lot of that. I'm sure if I really dug into a lot of things and looked at a lot of things that people, I'm sure I would find it, but that's too much work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody really stopped me from getting to where I am today. You know what I mean? So,
we got to come from an area where I remember growing up, and it wasn't like a heavy political, growing up in Lorraine, where it wasn't, politics are there, but it wasn't like this heavy debated, split you down the middle kind of thing. It was more community. It felt more like community for sure.
But let me read this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Michael, and he's kind of a character, which I love him. But our beloved leader Biden is now moving U.S. border guards from American southern border and sending them to Poland. Is that right?
I don't know.
I
Is
don't
that right?
know either. This could be a joke. He had a vision that told him that illegals are streaming across the Ukrainian border and then walking across Poland into Texas. So that is a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny, but
Yeah.
I am happy. That's what I am happy about.
You know what? I appreciate that, Mike, right?
Yeah.
Mike, I appreciate that, because you brought laughter to the situation. So very similar to when I was growing up, I just had this conversation with someone else. I remember Dana Carvey, Will Ferrell, they made fun of George Bush, how stupid he was. This isn't the first dumb president we've ever had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That people make fun of. But it was funny to watch them get on TV and make these absurd comments. And even though that's the leader, but this isn't the first time that's happened. This isn't the first quote unquote dumb president we've had that people make fun of and thinks this moron.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think people hate Trump so much they don't care what's happening now. They really don't. As long as Trump is out of office, they'll deal with, even if it's worse. And but that's why I'm glad he did lose, because I want to see what the Democrats are going to do, and if they're going to keep their word, because this is actually the first time in a long time that I've actually been paying attention to what they're saying, and they ain't done nothing, not a damn thing. So
But also then it only is going to last another 2 years because then he'll get voted. That's our system makes it to where even if you hate this guy that much, then and if he's that bad, all right, well we got 2 more years and vote on the next moron to run the country, or to stand in front while whoever else is behind him running the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't care either way. I get it that Trump is he's unpresidential, but you know what I mean. I guess you'd rather have a professional guy stand up and lie to you. You know what I mean, and screw you over. You want it to be professionally done. You don't want some guy that's non-presidential like to do it to you. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get the whole.
See, it's the same.
You're too much invested. You got to start holding people responsible. You know what I mean? So actually, the government that affects you the most is your local government. I bet you half these people
don't know who your mayor is.
Yeah,
that's why I said
they don't even know how to handle those situations. Can't even get their own streets paved. You know what I mean? You're worried about somebody who you're probably never going to meet. You know what I mean? So it's whatever. But I can't get the neighbor guy from playing his music too damn loud. You know what I mean? Because it's all politics. So whatever. Don't come to us with that crap. You know what I mean? So this is from Maria. It's time now to remove the clowns that are running our government and bring back our Goliath Trump. So
So yeah.
Do you think that things would have happened differently as far as this with Trump in there?
We don't know. We can speculate everything. You could turn that into coulda, shoulda, wouldas every direction.
That's actually a good answer.
And so this is another way to break it down. People who are Trump's God. He's this Goliath, amazing man who's done unspeakable things and changed this world. It's false. But he's still a man. He's not a Adolf Hitler, second coming, communist. He's not that either. He's Tim. I don't know if you know who Tim Dillon is. He's a comedian. He's a little much to handle sometimes, but I like him. He's funny. He described it the best. He's not God and he's not Hitler. He's like a riverboat con artist who got where he was by being amazing at building a business on spoken word, which is fine. That's good. Doesn't make him a horrible president. Doesn't make him a great president. And I don't want attaching yourself to a man, a name of a guy who doesn't care about you either. Just like Biden, none of them care about you as a person. They care about their legacy and what people are going to say about them when they die. To be the president of the United States, you have to be a narcissist. You have to want all that attention and all. It's inevitable. That's your job. You know what I mean? So to blame him for that, for people to get mad, same with people that are super mad at Biden. If our country is set up as good as they say it is, that man can't destroy it then, because we have checks and balances to stop that.
Yeah.
Just like Trump couldn't destroy our country because we have checks and balances to stop that.
Exactly.
So who's president? I don't care. I know that's like a really dumb thing to say, but I don't care because we have checks and balances, and that's how our system became as great as it is. So
yeah.
I don't feel like the president plays. I think it's ramped up by social media now how important his decisions or his comments are.
And it's important on who you follow, So, I agree with everything you just said there. That's awesome. I like every bit of it. Yeah, stop it. Stop it. And you know what? Somebody start doing something. We do have some problems here in America, and they're easily solved.
So, and not only easy. So Biden, once again, he could be the biggest piece we've ever had. I don't follow him that closely, but if I was that politically driven at this moment in time, what I would be doing is campaigning already for 2024. Why wouldn't you? Why isn't this next? So if we're backing Trump, the Trump 24s, that's what you should be backing. That should be your goal. It shouldn't be, because you're not going to be able to stop what's going on now. I get it with impeachment and all that, but I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to change, you should be focused on the next election already then, because that's when it's going to change whether it's good or bad. That's whether you're going to get your Republican back in, or if the Democrats want to keep another Democrat in, or whatever the decision is. You start now to start campaigning for 20. That's how it works.
Yeah. I can't sit here and say I don't like Democrats. I don't like anything, because I'll hear someone like Tulsi Gabbard. You know, I like everything she has to say. You know, so I'm just hoping somebody comes in on either side and takes care of business. We have issues that still have not been addressed. You know, everything that didn't just go away that Trump got out of office. That's the way I look at it. They're still there. There's still issues.
What's some of the bigger ones for you?
For me was, what were they going to do with the police? Okay, because defunding the police wasn't the answer. Okay, so what happened? Did we just stop talking about it? Is that what happened? We just stopped talking about it. But then on the other hand, of knowing cops, you know what I mean? Me coming from the background that, you know, that's what I did in the Army. I know that there are answers that they can take care of a lot of problems, and nobody's taking care of them. I think that maybe they'll come back out. Just say if Trump won again, they're not going to come back out. But the Democrats who have, you know, the president, that have control of Congress, I believe they have control of the Senate. So that means they have the power to do a lot. And what did they come up with pretty much? Juneteenth? They come up with a holiday? No, come up with something, you know, to solve the issue. We have technology. We have, you know what I mean? If you're getting pulled over all the time for, you know, driving while black, then put cameras in your car. I carry a camera in my car that's running 24/7 just for that reason. If I get pulled over, the cop has a camera. You know what I mean? I'm going to cooperate. And if he kicks my ass, I'm going to get paid for it. You know what I mean? I'm going to sit there and take it. Then I'm going to take that recording and take it to court and show it. There are ways. I just want the Democrats. I'm tired of people pointing to me or showing me what's racist. I know what's racist. Okay? 52 years old. You're not showing me anything new. I've seen it all. Okay, I've heard it all. Let's come up with solutions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
let's do something about it. Okay, you could use technology to help you out. You know what I mean? So these no-knock warrants. Okay, there are guys running in there with guns. You mean to tell me we can't come up with a little robot? You know what I mean? We can fly drones. They got the robots that go up to these bombs and disable them. You know what I mean? You don't mean you can come up with a little thing that drives into somebody's house and says, "Hey, the police are here. Come with us peacefully."
yeah.
I mean, on the other hand, if you got a warrant, you got to be man enough or woman enough to say, "Okay, I'm coming in. I'm going to deal with this warrant." That way, you eliminate everything. If there's a warrant out for your arrest and it's wrong, we deal with it this way. And if it's a wrong thing, then let's get you paid.
Yeah.
Okay. But on the other hand, let's quit sending in people like, "Oh, I'm fearing for my life. He had a gun and everything." Okay. Send in a robot.
Yeah.
Okay. With a big old speaker on it, cameras all around it, saying, "Hey, the police are here. We're here for you. Wake up. Get up." So if that guy picks up a gun, what's he going to do? Shoot the robot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like nobody's coming up with any solutions. They want the problems to continue, and that's what pisses me off. Okay, so if you're not coming up with any solutions, you're not thinking of anything, then quit your damn complaining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you ain't solved shit since the Republicans were in, and you voted the same people back in. Now the Democrats are in control. You know what I mean? If voter ID is racist, then fight for Xerox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fight to put a copier on every corner. You know, nobody's stuck in their house. Even if they're, you know, they're disabled, somebody brings them food.
Yeah.
Hey, going to the store, you know, you need some milk, and can I get you a couple copies of your ID?
Yeah.
You ain't got an ID? Can I go get you an ID? You know, just come on. You know, they're ignoring things, and you know what I mean? You could use, like I said, technology. You can go on Amazon, order yourself a camera that records out and in. You don't even have to use your phone. It does it. You can do it constantly wire it up direct, spend under $100, well under $100, and it's doing it for you. So now when you get pulled over for no reason, it's right there.
Yeah, you're so it comes back to just covering your own ass. You gotta. I mean, if you're gonna, if we're gonna use technology and have you can record anything nowadays. If you're in public, you're allowed to record. So, I understand. I totally get it.
That's how I feel. That's what I look at. So I don't want to hear it from a lot of people. I don't want to hear it because you ain't doing nothing for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I can do it, you can do it. You know, my education goes to like one semester of college. You know what I mean? So I'm like 12 and 1/4.
But asking the question, so even with going back to the question itself, we don't know if Trump was in office. We don't know how this would have been handled. We don't know. We just don't know. We don't.
Yeah, you can't say anything. I'm hearing CNN saying, well, you know, he would have let them do that. No. All that stuff that came out about the Russian, the stuff that came out about his collusion with Russia and blah, blah, blah that Hillary said. I mean, we just said in the beginning, it's all lies. It's all lies. They're investigating it. But if you're listening to something that doesn't give you the truth, then you need to be watching other things. You need to watch. I do listen to CNN.
Yeah.
I have to, though, for this show.
I don't listen to either one of them, but just common sense tells me also having someone, you know, we can go either direction. You know, we don't know because it's not happening. We're at that point, it's all. But when it comes to confrontational period, I don't necessarily want someone who's even more confrontational necessarily leading the charge of trying to speak peace into existence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you're dealing. That's a whole.
I get it,
It's
but
a
I'm
political thing.
I get it. But if I'm not going to go to the leader of another country who's already volatile and poke the bear. Not that they're the top notch or anything. I'm just saying, like, that may not be the best way to rectify a situation. But we don't know. We didn't know if that's how that would go down. At that point, it's all made up. We're making this up. We're making up what he would have done. That's
right.
what we're making up.
But there are some good arguments for his side. I mean, it's unemployment was at an all-time low. You know what I mean? Everything was good. Prices were down. You know what I mean? We didn't fight in the war for 4 years. So you mean to tell me, you know, you never know. You never know what would have been happening right now. Maybe he did have a different style of policy towards those guys, you know.
And it's perspective. It's perspective also. So like if you own your house right now, you're sitting on equity because our house, the markets went up so high and interest rates went down so low that I'm sitting on, I made $70,000 on my house just because the last year.
Because you own it.
Because I own it. If I don't own it, then no, I didn't make anything. But if I own something, I made money this last year. You know what I mean? It wasn't that bad of a year for me. No, I just paid $3.29 a gallon for gas, so 6 half dozen. What do you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once again, I'm not trying to. I see both sides, and I agree with everything. I don't necessarily say like, hey, this is the best or the worst of any situation. I think we're living in an era where our problems are real, but they're not. They're better than they were 20 years ago. They're better than they were 60 years ago. Yes. Our problems are better than they were 100 years ago. Yeah. But we're always going to have problems. We have first world problems. That's what our problems are here in America, which is fine. That's a good thing. We got lucky enough to be born here. So I'm not saying anything negative about that. Either way, President Trump was my president, whether I liked him or not. He was their president too, whether they liked him or not. Joe Biden's our president right now. That's who our president is, guys. If you live in the United States and you're American, that's your president. In 2024, we can get a new one if you guys want.
Yeah, and if we're saying something wrong, please comment. So
comment. Yes, yeah. Comment.
Say what you have to say. And like I said, we are trying to do some political shows the right way. I have reached out to a few people, but the way it stands right now, I'm only getting a certain side of things, and I don't want us to be, you know, I don't want to come across. Actually, I don't care, but I don't want it to be all Republican side. We do have some Republican interviews we're going to do. I'm trying to get a libertarian interview. You know what I mean? But I just have not found the Democratic, you know, someone who could actually talk. They're going to be mean, but talk politics from a Democratic point of side without telling me how much you hate Trump. You know what I mean? Let's talk about the policies he did and that were wrong. You know, let's talk about stuff like that. But I don't want to hear how much you hate him because I really don't give a shit. You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't.
Nor do I care how dumb you think Biden is. Like that's the whole thing. Is like we're saying that is like we want bring them all, both sides. I prefer that. You know what I mean? Like I like the jokes about how dumb a president is. I think that's funny. Like I said, I still remember the George Bush jokes and how dumb he was, and that stuff is funny. It's funny. If we can't laugh, then what are we doing? You know?
Yeah, and you got to be careful with cancel culture. I think people are getting to the point where they're sick of it, especially when you're looking at problems that other countries are having right now. You know what I mean? We could be having those kind of problems.
That's
right
what I'm
there.
saying. We got problems, but they're way better than they were 20
We can take
years
care of things and start getting on the ball and you know what I mean? Get us those smart cars that are relatively pretty cheap. If you give me an electric car that under $10,000, you know what I mean, that I can drive back and forth to work.
I don't know if I'd get an electric car under $10,000.
You know, but if you mass produce one, I'm driving one.
I'm good with that.
I'm driving one. You know, just come up with solutions instead of just crying about what the problem is. You know what I mean? If you have the crabs, make your own poison.
Get your own, you know what I mean? I had nothing. What did I have after that? Second-degree chemical burns and no crabs. You know what I mean? So do it yourself. This is what we're trying to tell you. Take it from us.
Do it yourself, you know, and things will come out just fine. So, all right. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We went a little long there, but we really didn't have a format for this. But, you know, we are happy. Thank you very much. We hit the 100 mark. I think we're at 102. We're going to keep going, and like I said, we're trying to make this great. We tried today. We tried to do a little phone calls. One didn't answer, and Pete, thank you very much. You know, you gave it a try, and we're going to try it again. Our system is set up for it. I just we got to learn it. We've been doing the Zoom calls. Please like and subscribe and comment. Tell us some things. If there's some things you want us to do, we'll do it. You know, I don't know what else to say, Tom. You know, it just
we took give us some comments. Our next thing that we will harp on instead of the subscribers. Keep doing that, but ask us questions. Tell us. Give it. Like I said, you're political. Throw it in there, even though I'm not. It's fun. It's still something to talk about.
Still fun.
We'll be here, you know.
Yeah, thank you very much, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notifications button. You know, it's amazing how much we can say.
Remember the first outtake?
That took us like a half hour to come up with that 2-minute video. But you know, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and take care. Take it easy. Bye-bye.